Alizah with Morashali Village, and today I am going to be sharing our selections for mathematics, logic / critical thinking, and financial literacy. All right, let's get started. I am going to begin with grade 6. So for 6th grade, I decided on Alpha and Omega Life Pack. Comes in this big box of 10 Life Pack units and my teacher's guide. I typically use one curriculum for elementary and then I switch to Life Pack for middle school. I don't know what I'll use for high school yet, but I do have my elementary, middle school curriculum choices down, and that's typically the transition that I make. So my oldest son is the only one using Alpha and Omega. I look through it, I love it, I like it. Of course, I do as a teacher, but we'll see how well it looks on him as the school year progresses. So I'll be back with the review for you with that. For logic, we typically use Critical Thinking Company. We've used them ever since preschool. So we've done their pre-K 4, K, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th series. But for 6th grade, I decided to just kind of bump it up a notch. The basics of critical thinking, so we don't have the traditional logic book. It's a really big, thick one. You can normally get done with it in about a year and a half. But we are moving on to the basics of critical thinking. I really, really love this book. I'm a logic and critical thinking kind of girl, especially my degree is, geared towards language arts and English, and then so I kind of delve over into history with that. And there's a lot of critical thoughts or independent critical thought that they need to have in those subjects, and I'm always asking for that in language arts and literature and history time, and so it'll be very good to have him study it as a single subject independently. So I'll give you some of the table of contents. First, it teaches them what is critical thinking. But I love all of the different types: decisions, conclusions, belief and claims, evidence, facts and opinions, probable true, probable false, logical connectives, agreements and contracts, common errors in reasoning, valid and invalid arguments, fallacies, analogies, and so forth. All right, I really, really like this one. So that's what we're doing. And then for financial literacy, I am going to do another video speaking about, this is a simple financial literacy plan. So be sure to check that video out. But for 6th grade, I am going with banking and credit, which most of it will be banking because a section of this I'm going to save for next year. But a little bit of it will be credit. The mathematics of banking and credit by Steck Vaughn. They have a few books in their consumer math series, and I'm a consumer math kind of girl because I just like to show children math in a relevant way. I don't really see a major need for lots of the advanced algebra in terms of all the formulaic math and imaginary numbers and just things that really are not going to apply unless you decide to go into a career that's mathematically based, or you're going to become a mathematician or something like that. So consumer math is kind of my thing. They still go over the same skills that exist in the advanced algebra, but it's just a little bit more relevant. So I actually saw a Facebook post today. A lady was commenting about some acreage that she's looking into and how she has to use algebra to figure out what her payments are going to be and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, yes, I really love algebra when it shows up in a very relevant way. And so that typically happens under the consumer math category. So you'll see a lot of consumer math in the products that I choose. All right, that is our 6th grade math, critical thinking and logic, and financial literacy. All right, moving on with my 3rd grader math, we use ACE, Pace. Comes in this big set Alpha and Omega has 10. Pace has 12. I like this format. I don't like having a big, large textbook with, I don't know, 500 pages of math to do in it. I like having it broken down into the little booklets, as we progress throughout the year. So I use that for elementary. I do like it for elementary because it has the children being very, very strong in their facts and, basic skills and mathematical concepts. But after 5th grade, I do like to switch into another curriculum. All right, and then for logic, we'll be using Think a Minutes. So my son did the pre-K and the kindergarten and the 1st and 2nd grade too. And we just got a little tired of the big, thick books, which I did cut them and had them bound into, smaller sections, but they are a little taxed out on that. So we're still using critical thinking, but we're just mixing up a little bit. So we'll be doing Dr. Funkster's Think a Minutes. I have all of them, A1, A2, B1, B2, but I just pulled one for this video. Nice little brain teasers throughout. Some ordering, lots of critical thinking and logic skills for sure. And it shows up in a more, not as redundant and monotonous as like the thicker books. All right, so it's a page for you to see. All right, and then financial literacy for my 3rd grader. K through 3rd grade, I have them keep a store. It's a play store here, but has a lot of real life components to it. And because at that point, I'm just working on money and basic counting skills and being able to count back and get change and all that type of stuff. Just using those basic skills. Value and subtraction, addition, being able to understand how much a coin is worth and instantly looking at it and knowing what it is, all that kind of stuff. So for K through 3rd, we just keep a store here in our school for financial literacy, and they get that in. And I will talk about that a little bit more in that financial literacy video that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. All right, so that is it for our math, logic / critical thinking, and financial literacy plans for the 2017-2018 school year. Oh, I left off one book. I will have to put a picture of it in the video, so it should be loading right about now because it's not here yet, but it's called I Got Bank. And my oldest son is going to walk through that. So for 6th grade, it's going to walk through, how to invest, a lot of financial literacy terminology. We started that last year with Sandy Dollar, but I Got Bank is like the next level up. Or did we do Danny Dollar the year before? I'm not sure. We did it in 4th or 5th grade, 4th grade. And then in 5th grade, I forgot what I used for, I remember what I used. That'll be in the financial literacy video. But for this one, we're going to use I Got Bank. It's not as easily able to purchase. Amazon does have it. It took me a while. I had to wait a few months before I could get it where it wasn't third party. And so now, if you want it, go get it now. Because now they have it. It's about 14 or 15 bucks. I think the last time I saw it, it was like 16 or 17 copies left. And then it goes to third party and becomes very, very, very expensive until they decide to restock it again. But I've always seen it available on Kindle. If you want to read, the book that way. I just prefer to have the tangible book. So if you're a Kindle reader, you can get it anytime. But if you need a tangible book, go check it out. All right, now that concludes my video. Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope this has been helpful to you. If so, please share, like, subscribe. Until next time, shalom.